Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Dave D Fishing. I'm David. So in this video we are going to be talking a little bit about the Albie Snax soft plastic lure. Little picture of it, little video is the main profile of it. So this lure, really versatile lure. Can be used saltwater, freshwater. It's mainly used in saltwater for False Albacore. I believe that's where it got its beginnings from. So this thing can be used for striped bass, sea bass, redfish. They use it for mahi. They use it for all kinds of stuff. But up here in the Northeast, like I said, great lure for False Albacore. So to start off with, again, here's its profile. Resembles a sluggo, if you're familiar with those. These things are usually rigged up weedless style, and this is the specific hook for this lure. So like again, these things start out $7 and you have to buy the hooks separately. I think they're about $6 for a pack of 3 or so, so not bad. Pretty sharp hooks. So these come in a couple different colors. They come in a hot pink. I believe they come in a white, in this pearlescent color. So again, can be used freshwater, saltwater. In this video, I'm going to be showing you a video of me using these things for striped bass. So I'm going to also be talking about the different retrieves you can use for them, pros and cons briefly. Then I'll leave the rest of the video of me fishing using these things. So pros with this thing, again, the profile, it's really general basic profile to match smaller bait fish. Up here in the Northeast, we have bay anchovies, we have silver sides. We also have smaller squid that are around this time of year. They're usually 4 or 5 inches long, which is generally the size and shape of this. So because of the general shape, you can say it's a broad spectrum bait. Like when you get sick with the bacteria, you give a broad spectrum antibiotic. This thing, you'll give them a broad spectrum bait. So again, versatile, easy to use for the most part. Now to the cons, I will say that first off, casting distance is the first thing I think of when using this lure. If it's windy out, especially if the wind's blowing on my face, I'm going to shy away from this thing. Whether I'm on my kayak or from shore, I want to make sure my time is spent wisely and that I can actually get a bait to the fish and even past them a little bit in case they do show up farther. You want to retrieve through the schools, a little bit past it. That's what I like to do. Even when I'm on my kayak, if I have to take a couple extra pedals or paddles towards those fish, and I could have reached them with, say, an epoxy, a metal lure, or a hard plastic lure, I'm going to stay away from this thing. But I do often at times count this thing as sort of a finesse lure if the weather allows and the albies are being finicky about what they're eating. I will try and use this thing if the weather allows, because of the how much air this thing catches. So drawback number 2, if there are toothy critters around, i.e. bluefish, probably not going to use it. I'm going to stick with an epoxy or a hard plastic lure to avoid wasting these things. There are, yes, I think $7 for a pack of 6. I know it's not much money, but when bluefish are around, these things a pack of 6 won't last very long. Trying to think what else are things. Toothy critters, casting distance, and I think that's really it. My other could be complaints with this thing, or as far as this thing is brittle. It's not the softest or the bendiest of plastics, like say Z-Man lures. This thing has some rigidity in it to keep its form when you're casting it out and retrieving it, rather than it being super sloppy. When you are retrieving this thing, if you choose to do a more erratic retrieve, this thing, the tail actually wags all over the place and it's ripping up water. If you choose to use it on the top, even subsurface, depending on your retrieve, the tail does have some action to it. which leads me into the pros of this thing. So not only can this thing be used saltwater, it can be used freshwater. Smallmouth will smack this thing. Pretty much any predatory fish that can eat this thing will probably have a go at it. It is weedless, so if you choose to do freshwater with it, perfect. You shouldn't have any troubles with it. Another pro is that this thing will catch a multitude of species. So I've caught striped bass on it, which I will show you in the video. Albies, I caught black sea bass by accident on it, and I know there are other stuff out there that will eat this that I just haven't caught. That's really all I have to say about it. It's a pretty basic lure. I don't want to overdo it. Because it's a weedless rigged lure, it might be a little hard for some of you who haven't dealt with a soft plastic to rig this the first time. You might waste one or two. So I would pretty much dedicate the first lure you pull out of the package to learning how to rig this thing, which I will show you. All right, let's get into me showing you how to rig this thing. Okay guys, so here are your basic components of this Albie Snax rig. So you have your Albie Snax weedless hook, and you got your spring right here that retains the bait onto the hook. So most weedless rigs or weedless hooks that you find in the store, their eyes are not like this. They are perpendicular to the hook, the bend in the hook. So these ones have their very own particular hook, and they come with the spring already attached, and it looks like that out of the bag. So to rig this, you take the spring, make sure this is on there straight, line it up with the center of the bait, and you screw it in counterclockwise, just like so, and try and make sure this is staying midline. The center of the spring is midline. So there is this little gap right about here where you can slide this on and off the hook. So what I found I try and do is just screw the Albie Snax all the way up till it's barely touching the gap right there to prevent the hook from coming off easily, because sometimes a fish will smack this and you'll hook the fish, bring it in, and then this thing's sort of dangling around and you'll drop the bait in the water, or the spring will go off with it. If you have really bad luck, you won't have any more springs on you, and then you'll have no way to rig this thing properly. So I get that part, and then I might back off a little bit because I will show you why. There is a center line from where this thing was molded. See it right there? Opposite side has one too. So just make sure the line itself, both sides are lined up to the center line of the hook. So to rig this properly, go like this, sort of. You can take your thumb and match it up to the edge of the hook, and that will be where the hook will go in initially. And you can turn it over like this, put it through that ridge, that midline ridge, press it through, and make sure it comes up through that other side, straight along that line. And that is it. That's all you do. And it should be pretty straight on there. So that is it. That is all you do to rig this thing. Pretty simple. And then you tie your line off to the eyelet of the hook. Make sure you don't just tie it off to the spring. Tie it off there. So that is this rig in a nutshell. So it'll sit just like that. It's a beautiful thing. All right. Let's get to fishing. Retrieve number one. Cast this thing out. For albies, this is what most people do, like burn it across the top and twitch, just like that, and this thing goes wild across the top. Now, albies are quick enough where they can catch this thing Stripers, they can. They need a little bit more, probably need to go a tad bit slower. This thing will just sort of wave all over the place and it goes nuts. Now if you reel it in a slower pace and just give rhythmic twitches, it will actually walk the dog across the top of the water. And if you want to throw a pause in there, throw a pause in there. This is a pretty quiet lure, so any twitching you do or any letting it walk the dog or thrash on the top is a plus. Sorry, I had to do my other retrieve. So otherwise you could just do a little subsurface and just reel. If there's that many fish around, they'll come and find it. This water's a little murky, so I recommend, if it is murky like this, let it do its job and work the surface. This thing does sink fairly well for what it is, being just a weedless hook in it and a chunk of plastic. So you also let it sink, twitch it up. This is going to get you more stripers and that type of thing, sea bass. It seems to sink about a foot a second. This thing's pretty hydrodynamic, so it darts down pretty quickly. Twitch, let it fall, twitch, let it fall. A bunch of generic retrieves, but they work. Albies, like I said, if you just burn this thing across the top, they are more than capable of catching it. And then any variation of what I showed you should work. You just got to figure out what the fishes want. Oh, there's one right there. Twitch, 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 pause. Like I said, right in his face. You just need to use lighter tackle. You don't need anything crazy. This thing's rated up to, believe it, was it? No, 3/4 of an ounce, so it's perfect for this. This is a Tsunami Carbon Shield 2. 15-pound test on there. Not a little Daiwa Saltus 3000. You don't need huge tackle to catch big fish. I've caught 36-inch stripers on this setup, no problem. Oh, it's actually not a bad first fish. You also want to get these things in sort of quick so they don't destroy your soft plastics if you can help it. Yeah, hooked right in the top of the mouth. Yeah, that's it. Nice little striper. He's probably like 24. He's not huge. Yeah. All right, so yeah, this thing's starting to tear on the bottom. So we see if we can get 1 or 2 more fish on it. I'm actually getting another camera, something to help me focus in on smaller stuff, because I feel bad. I feel like I have a lot of good information, but I can't. My camera's limiting me to. Well, I can actually show you guys. Sometimes I feel like I'm wasting my time because I don't have a better camera. All right, let's try and grab another one. Yeah. 15-pound test casts this thing like a dream. It's perfect. Little schoolie. Supposedly someone caught a bluefish pretty close by a couple days ago. This little stripper. So always check your bait afterwards after you catch a fish. This thing's actually fine, I'm surprised. Oh. I think that was my first actual miss. Like where I felt a pull and I didn't hook him. Oh yeah, he's still over there. I see the silver sights freaking out. Oh, there he is. Oh, there's two of them there. Ooh. Ooh, all right. Fast little fish. Come on, fish. Come on. Feel it plucking on rocks, so I'm not too happy right now. Ooh, that's actually a nice fish, I think. See? By nice, I mean maybe just over a keeper, I'd be happy. Any fish on a day like this is good. Like I said, this rod can handle an albie, so it can handle most fish if you know how to fight a fish. I think I saw a decent size. I think it was decent sized. Oh, he does not want to come up. Come on. Ooh. Oh my goodness, wow. All right. That's probably gonna pop off, but I might keep one for dinner. Oh wow, all right. Let's oh, you're tired, big boy. Out of curiosity, I wonder how big he is. It's over 32. He's 33 inches. Beautiful fish. All right, we're gonna revive him. Get him back to his family. He's yeah, about 33 inches. What a fish. Cool. And he'll start shimmying and shaking when he's ready. Alright, there we go. Alright, it's unlocked a little bit. Alright, my little friend. There he goes. That's how you release a striper. Alright guys, you made it to the end of my video. I caught 3 fish, missed a couple others. Would I recommend buying this lure? Absolutely. It's a good tool to have in your bag. I would keep it in there at all times just in case a situation arises where it may come in handy. Forgot to mention that I do bring 3 rods with me every time I go albie fishing, and one of those rods always has an Albie Snax on it ready to go. In case I'm able to use it, the fish are finicky, I don't have to sit there and retie stuff. I can just pull the rod out and start casting. So the major drawback is the casting distance with it. That is its major flaw, and that's really what it comes down to. If it's pretty calm day, I would just start casting with it. If it gets windy, I would switch to something else. You really can't go wrong carrying this lure with you. So hope you enjoyed the video, or at least found it entertaining. If you liked it, please give a like and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching.